immediately thought of like a sex toy.
Oh.
Star Blazers is an animated show that I'm guessing is easily 40 years old.
Star Blazers is searching for a distant star, heading off to Iskandar, leaving all they love behind. Who knows what dangers they'll find?
Star Blazers was strong and brave.
Star Blazers was a cosmic adventure with tumultuous and challenging challenges.
Ooh. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Falling Towers. Watch the First podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. Why would you waste 22 minutes watching an episode when you could watch us for an hour? So
Or better. Maybe.
And of course, today we are doing Star Blazers, the very first episode entitled The Battle at Pluto. Of course, you know our very special co-host. He is the vice provost for academic affairs at Duke University, and he's an evolutionary biologist and an occasional Star Trek science advisor. He's wearing a radical outfit, Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Hello, hello. Always a pleasure to be on Falling Towers. Watch the first of things and to blend in with Derek Wildstar here.
And by outfit, I mean shirt. I don't know if you're got matching pants.
Got the full uniform. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't.
We also have actress and writer Lila Shacker here, all the way from Los Angeles, California.
Hello, hello, hello.
And on the other side of the country, we've got a wonderful actress in her own right, out in Georgia, Jennifer Keene. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and I'm at the Battle at Pluto right now.
No, it looks like you're on Earth.
Oh, yeah. They all look the same. Anyway, so please give this video a like. Make sure you are subscribed. Give it a 5-star rating on whatever podcast device you are using. And in the comments below, if you'd like us to review a show, just type WTF and the show. So in this case, you would have said WTF Star Blazers, and you would have let us know where to find it. In this case, it was YouTube. Good job, Mohammed. This was a toughie. All right, well, let's get started. Let's have some fun. Mohammed, can you steer this flying ship, please?
Absolutely. So we're in a predicament. It's the section we call predicaments, where each of us describe what we predict the other's thought. Do they love it? Do they hate it? Maybe we can guess a score for them. Maybe we'll just say above average, below average, but we'll see. We'll see if we're right. And we'll see if you guys are right who are watching too.
Mm-hmm. This is actually my favorite. This is why I try to rush through that intro thing, is just to get to the goodies. So Mohammed and I have known each other for a handful of years. He's also a pretty hardcore nerd. I'm going to say, yeah, maybe 3 years only. And you were very high on us reviewing this show. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you liked it or have even seen it, but I'm going to say that you're pretty warm on this. Right around the 7. So, yeah, maybe, well, you're right. I'm going to bump that up right around to 7.5 to an 8. You're going to say there were a couple problems here and there, but it was pretty good. You loved it. You're going to be coming up, pulling off your snorkeling mask from your deep dive into nostalgia. However, Lila, on the other hand, no nostalgia at all. She watched this thing and she said, "What the am I watching?" But there are a few things that she liked. So she's not going to be like destroying this, but she's also not going to be, gathering the family around for episode number 2. Jennifer, as we continue with the downward spiral, looked at the clock like 5 or 6 times and was like, "How is this? Is this thing over yet? How much longer is this? What's happening? I forgot to pay attention. This is terrible. I think you're going to not like this very much." Those are my predictions. They're very bold, and I'm pleased with them. What do you think, Mohammed?
So with Ryan, I think you went in with low expectations because you were probably like, "Oh my god, a 70s cartoon? Seriously?" So you went with kind of low expectations. Yeah, I mean, it was like, I think it aired in Japan in like 73, and then it was translated in 78. So I guess you probably went in with fairly low expectations, but I think you may have been somewhat pleasantly surprised. Like, there's more substance to this than I thought. It's not like some of the other shows we've seen. just arbitrarily, I'm going to flip what you said. I'll say that I think Jennifer's going to like it a little bit more than Lila. I think Jennifer's going to come in like, oh, that was pretty good. And Lila's going to be like, it was all right. So I actually have no idea, but I'm just guessing. So sounds like a good guess.
What do you think,
Lila?
Lila? Yeah.
I'm gonna say Muhammad. I think you really enjoyed it, and it was definitely a great nostalgia for you. I think you're a fan. Also, just judging by the shirt you're wearing right now, it's a little. I mean, just to guess. And then Jennifer. I'm just gonna take a wild guess. I'm gonna say you were like down for the ride. I don't think it was necessarily your cup of tea, but you were like, I'm gonna drink it anyways. I saw you drinking tea earlier too. So yeah, I think that you were open to it, but not necessarily like, I don't think you would have turned it on otherwise. And then Ryan, I think you're always so hard to guess for.
Sorry about that.
So hard to guess for. I would say maybe, I think for nostalgia purposes, I think that you were pleasantly surprised. I think for what it was, for a cartoon from the late 70s, I think you were pleasantly surprised.
Jennifer, your thoughts?
Okay, I think Lila hated it. She was like, I would never put this on. What is this? I can't wait till it's over. I obviously think Muhammad is like 100%. This is my favorite show ever of all time. And Ryan, I think he's half and half. He's like, I kind of liked it, but it has all these issues, so I'm like right in the center.
Boy, this is one of my favorite prediction segments ever. This was a good one.
This is a tough one.
Everyone was all over the place. It was raucous. So everybody at home right now, in the live chat or in the comments below, make your predictions. Do you think I liked it? Do you think Muhammad obviously liked it? What about Lila and Jennifer? Do you think they liked it? The same, different? Feel free to type away. Take your time. No rush while you're typing. Dr. Noor here is going to buy you a little bit of time by telling us all what this show is even about. Because nobody knows.
Do my best. So, in the year 2199, Earth's surface was made unlivable after being hit with bombs from planet Gamelon. A final battle is waged between Earth and Gamelon forces near Pluto, but Earth forces lose badly. Amidst the battle, an unknown spaceship speeds by and crashes on Mars, killing the pilot. A message is recovered from the wreck and is found to contain the plans to build an experimental wave motion engine that could allow Earth people to come to planet Iskandar, 148,000 light years away, in order to get a device that can save Earth from extinction.
Wow. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you're silent.
Oh, so sorry. I was paying you a compliment, actually, Jennifer, saying great job with the pantomiming.
Right. Improv. We can do some mime. Why not?
That's practically the rule. So now, everybody, we are going to compare and contrast what we expected versus what we got. Muhammad's got nothing to say about this, I bet.
Yeah, no, that's right. I call this section Expect Getchen. I do that because we talk a little bit about what we expect, kind of that fake out, and then what we actually getchen, we spent the most time on.
So it's time for that fake out. So without divulging yet what we got, Dr. Noor, before you watch this first episode of Star Blazers, entitled The Battle at Pluto, what did you expect, if anything?
Well, this is one I watched a lot as a kid. It was definitely one of my favorite shows as a kid. It was most of my friends' favorite shows as a kid and stuff like that. So yeah, I knew a lot about this going in. And I watched the entire series with my son not terribly long ago. This is probably maybe about 10 years ago or something like that. We watched the whole thing start to finish. It's why my daughter didn't especially watch it, but like she could hear the theme song in the other room and she would start singing along with the theme song. So I definitely knew the plot very well. I knew exactly what was going on in terms of like, yes, Gamelon forces are attacking. Yes, these planet bombs are there. Yes, they have to go to Iskandar, and Astra dies on her way getting the stuff there. They have to go to Gamelon to get the device to save it. And yeah, I know the history behind the show too. As I mentioned, I think it originally came out as a Japanese anime in 1973 or so, but it came on regular TV for us here in the U.S., dubbed, of course, in 1978. I also remember too that some things don't quite fit in the US version because they took out some of the more violent elements, or some of the more like really, I guess you'd say, sexist elements too. So sometimes there'll be a scene and it like cuts off abruptly and you're like, wait, what happened? Or something weird will happen. Like it looks like somebody was supposed to die, but then there's this, oh, he came out later. Like, what? How did that happen? So it's definitely sanitized. I remember all those things. But yeah, for the first episode, I mean, yeah, I remembered exactly, or at least I thought I remembered exactly what the plot was. You'll hear soon if I was correct.
Lila, what did you expect before watching? Had you seen this multiple times?
Yeah, I religiously. No, I had no idea what to expect at all. I mean, all I kind of had in my head was I knew it was a cartoon. And I kind of went in purposefully, like just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to see what happens. So I was expecting kind of a cheesy kind of kids cartoon. I think that's what I went in with the expectation of, just, lots and lots of action, explosions, and just, bad humor, I think, as well, just kind of targeted for the children. Yeah, that's what I went in expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jennifer, what did you expect before you watched this episode, if anything?
Okay, so I got the email and I saw Star Blazers and I was like, oh no, I don't really like space shows. Like I'm not really into it, and I'm just going to admit that. So I was like, oh man, I really wanted to like this. And then I turned it on. It was a cartoon. I was like, and then it was like 70s style, and then I was like, huh. And then I really started getting into it. Now
easy. She's teasing the next segment. She's teasing. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I expected. I expected this to be a pretty good old sci-fi show because I feel like people have requested this a few times, and I know Muhammad's pushed for it quite a bit. And, usually if something stands the test of time, there's a reason for it. So I thought that, So I thought that it was going to be something that was moderately good, but that I would personally like more than the average person, because I did like, cartoons and things like that when I was a kid, sci-fi cartoons and things, like I was always all for those. So that's what I expected. I expected that I was going to like a new show, that this was going to be a new old show that I'm like, fuck yeah, this is cool. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, higher expectations than I thought.
Is this sign language for sci-fi?
Yeah. However, that's what we expected. Here's the key. What did we actually get, Dr. Noor? What did you actually get on your 14th viewing of this episode?
It probably was about my 14th viewing. I mean, I'll say there weren't a lot of surprises for me because, again, I've got the book that has like the first several episodes too, like laid out very explicitly. So not too many surprises. I knew this was one of the few shows from the era that was truly arc-based. And that was very, very uncommon back then, especially for cartoons and things like that. But this was a show that like characters actually die. Even like some of the characters we saw in this episode who didn't die in future episodes. Like the second season has a completely different plot than the first season. The planet bombs thing is resolved somehow. I won't say how, but there's new things going on. In terms of this episode, I don't want to go too much into the overall series. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say I was captivated the whole time because, again, since I knew what was coming, there were definitely some times like, yeah, okay. Often, this is true for a lot of sci-fi. I often get a little bored with the battle scenes. Like, yeah, okay. Let's get to. I like the drama underneath it, so I was eager to get to that. It definitely had the pacing was not what I remembered. Like it was sort of a regular pacing. It wasn't fast, but it wasn't slow. It's sort of just fairly even, regular. Like sometimes when they're just walking down hallways, like, oh, okay, we're still walking down the hallway, things like that. Yeah, I remember the plot about Alex Wildstar being killed off, and I remember about Venture and them finding Astra dead on the planet. I didn't remember she was just like apparently like thrown from the rocket ship, but I do remember how. One thing I didn't remember is because this is arc based. I didn't remember where it ended, so I wasn't sure if it was just going to end with them getting back to Earth, or if we actually got to see the message from Starsha about coming to Iskandar and building the wave motion engine and all those things. So it was nice to see that they at least got that far in there. So that was. I felt it was like, I mean, thinking back, if I hadn't seen it before, I think I'd feel, I mean, it's hard to know because I'm biased. I think I'd feel like this was a decent setup. Okay, I see like there's clear problems here. The stakes are high, and we're going to go after this thing, and we'll see what happens. The one thing which was interesting they didn't get into is looking behind Ryan there is what the story is with the ship. And it's kind of obvious if you look behind Jen there, what eventually happens to the ship.
Lila, what did you actually get upon pushing play on your YouTube player?
Yeah. I was surprised. It was like what Mohammed's saying. Like as I was watching it, and like these characters are dying, and they're like dealing with all this stuff, and like just kind of the issues on Earth and the radiation and all that stuff. I'm like, as I was watching it, because like I said, I hadn't done any research on it. I was like, was this a kids show? I was like, I'm not sure. I mean, they really bash you over the head with like some like explaining as far as what the show is. I think in the theme song they explain what the show is, and then like I think 3 other people like narrate later what's happening. So that was really the only time I'm like, okay, I think this is for kids, and they're making sure they're understanding it. But I was kind of surprised with like the subject matter. Also, I can't remember I'm looking at trying to look at my notes, is what her name is. I think Nova, that dress was like real short, and they definitely just got a shot of her butt like right there. I was like, oh, wow. And then I remember, okay, this was the late 70s, so it was a little bit different. So it was a lot more, I guess, adult than what I was expecting, and not like, I mean, it was still a little cheesy. It's still a 70s cartoon and sci-fi, but not nearly as cheesy as I thought it was going to be.
Jennifer, what did you actually get upon viewing this and getting super into it?
Don't give it away. So I pushed play, and the theme song came on, and I was like immediately like, this is the best song ever. And then the like logo came on, and I loved the logo because I love all 70s, text and vibe, the coloring, the cartoon, the way it's drawn, the way, even the voices, like the way they talked back then was a little different. And I was like, wow, I'm so glad I like this so far. And then the Earth, they showed Earth, and I was like, this is our future. It's 2199. We're all living underground because of the radiation. And then I got really into it because I'm like, really into saving the world and using green things and, composting, etc. So that drew me in. But I think what I loved the most was that it was like the pacing was nice with the story. Like I actually didn't really feel like it dragged at all. And some things drag, and I'm like, no, get to the action, get to the, what we're doing here. So that was nice to see it progressing in a fast way and getting to the point, So I really enjoyed it.
Wow. Awesome. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, everybody, but it's time for me to tell you what I expected, or what I actually got. So sorry. What I got was something that was not as good as what I had expected. When I first put it on, my immediate thought was, before you even hit play, I was like, this animation looks just like Robotech, which was a cartoon that I liked a lot when I was a kid. And I was like, there's no way at all that this is not the same animation group, because it's the same. I mean, this looks like Robotech. The faces, the colors, the ships, everything. It's clearly the same company. So I was like, okay, I like this. Then the music comes in, like Jennifer said. I was like, this song is rocking. These guys, boy, they sure know how to party. And it actually sounded familiar. So I wonder if I had heard the song a couple times. You can watch like a YouTube video that's got like an 80s cartoon compilation, and those are really cool. And so I feel like I must have heard it there somewhere, or maybe it was on sometime when I was a kid and I don't remember it. But the song was familiar, and I could even sing along to it. And
wow.
No spoilers,
wow.
but I did sing along to it because nobody was watching, and it was fun. And it's easy to figure out. They just kind of repeat the same thing. Anyway, and then it was kind of like, it's kind of messy. It was kind of messy. It was kind of up and down. I kind of wasn't really following the story very much. Like, I followed the world and the situation, but like the scene to scene stuff, I was like, wait, where are they? Who are these guys? I thought this guy's name was, I was just kind of getting confused. And they're like, well, you should have been paying attention to the 5 intros that we had at the beginning of the episode. And I kind of was. But anyway, so it was okay. It seems like the kind of stuff I would have liked when I was a kid, and the kind of stuff I would have liked nowadays. It just felt very, herky-jerky and a little messy to me. But Muhammad, since you're the expert on this show, is this first episode indicative of how the rest of the show goes, or does it get better? Are you going to be one of those people that are like, trust me, it gets better. You just got to get through the first few seasons, and then
the first 4 episodes are basically set up, right? It's basically the first, because they're short, right? They're like 20 minutes long. So like, and one thing I love about the show, and later, I know it's a total spoiler for later shows actually explain like how the wave motion engine works.
Good, more explanation.
The explanation for it, like they have these like graphs and stuff like that. And this guy named Sandor comes in. He actually wears a shirt this color. And he explains how it works. Like, well, this is how time and space move, and you're jumping from this part to this. And it was like, it's super in detail, like way more than even. So let's say this is like about the same era as Star Trek the animated series. Way more detailed than that in terms of how this works. And then they have this gun, they call it the wave motion gun, and like how that works. And then after this first 4 or so episodes, then they're like really on their way. And then it's a little bit more episodic, but there's an overall arc for each season. So for this season, it's get to Iskandar, get this Cosmo DNA, bring it back, and save Earth before it stops.
Is the science
is a whole different arc.
Is the science relatively accurate for the 70s, or are they just making crap up?
I mean, it's a mix. It's a mix. There's definitely some aspects they're making up, and some aspects were like, for something that you're aiming for kids in general, this is not bad.
Let's go around the table and talk about our favorite characters.
Actually, one thing I'm going to mention real quick too. I've worn this at various conventions before.
No way.
And yeah, and when I do, people will always come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, it's a Star Blazer shirt!"
Wow.
Invariably, they are guys and about the same age as me.
I'm shocked.
Like,
boy, oh boy,
like, oh my God,
guessed.
I feel very stereotyped here. They're always like around. I mean, now they'd be like around 50. Like 10 years ago, they'd be around 40. And they'd always be guys like, oh, really? Like,
well, Lila, let me ask you, with all these great rugged characters, did you have a favorite?
It was tricky because I feel like a lot of it was so much just about the plot. It was hard to for me to latch on to a specific character. I mean, the doctor was very specific. But I mean, I would say for this episode, I think from what I saw, probably Alex Wildstar for all of the maybe 2 minutes that he was in it. What he did, his sacrifice, I thought was pretty great. So I think for this episode, from what I've just purely that, I would say Alex Wildstar. He sacrificed himself for he's got what I'm
not getting him there.
Disappearing and reappearing.
There he is. Alex Wildstar.
Oh, there he is making the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah.
Born to do it with a name like that. What about you, Jennifer? Did you have a favorite character that just really, chewed up the scenery?
Well, of course, Captain Avatar, because he's like, hey, come back. And Wildstar's like, no. He's like, come on, order. I'm going to save your life. And Wildstar's like, no. And he was right. He was right.
And then he just kind of, and then didn't he just kind of go, that's enough, we're going home.
I mean, he had to save his people, right?
Like, I'm tired. It's over. I'm about to clock out, man. I don't want to go into. I'm going home. I need a sandwich.
All the characters in that way. It's like monotone. Okay, here we go. We're going back.
Yeah, the delivery was very matter of fact. Everybody was just telling stories. Muhammad, who's your favorite character?
I like Venture, the guy who was with Derek, the guy who was with him on Mars. Can you place his accent? I can't place his accent.
No.
He had an unusual accent. I was like, where is he from? In 2199.
I'd have to listen again. They totally remind me. Their outfits remind me of like Voltron or something. You know what I
Well, it
mean?
looks like that, yeah.
I didn't really. Yeah.
That I noticed. So when they said gamelons, I was like, whoa. Gamelan, it's an Indonesian instrument.
Oh.
It's kind of like a xylophone. So I was like, gamelons, are these like flying instruments? But no, they're like creatures. But it was funny. They used the same term, gamelan. I thought that was interesting.
They look human, but they're blue.
Yeah. That old gag. Well, I'll tell you who my favorite character is. I've thought about it, and I didn't like the captain. He seemed like I thought I was going to, and I wanted to like him, but the way he talked, I was like, is this guy just a sailor? I don't know. I
love his outfit.
And
yeah.
His, like,
just anchors all over.
I did want his outfit though, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of maybe like the nurse just because she didn't seem weird yet. Like all the other characters at first just kind of felt weird to me, and I'm like, okay, she's regular. Although I will say that, Muhammad, you mentioned the shot of the skirt. I think I was typing something, and I looked up and I was like, what the hell? There was just a shot of a skirt. I was like, what did I miss? And I'm like, oh, nothing. Apparently they just did that. But I just looked up just right at that moment. I was like, what happened? But anyway, so maybe, I'm going to like Venture the best. Let's say Venture. Just throw a name in a hat.
That's him right there, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's Venture, yeah.
The Green Ranger.
Yeah, the Green Ranger.
I do have to say, Ryan, I did have to pause it and rewind it a couple times. So I get what you're saying with a little bit of messiness of like taking it all in and getting the story right in your head,
Yeah, I actually felt in a way less concerned with the actual story because I was like, I get it. We know what's going on. They explained it in the first minute or two so much. They're like, okay, the scene to scene stuff, you can kind of follow along. You don't really need to focus on the details too hard. Cause I did the same thing you did, Jennifer, where I was like, what did I miss? And I would go back and I was like, I get it. They're saving the earth. They have 1 year to save the human race, like, okay. We get it.
A lot.
Yeah. They definitely explained it. Were there any funny moments? I don't remember any. Oh, what's up? Okay, that doctor, is he supposed to look like an alien potato, or is he like, he didn't look human. Everybody else looked human, but he looked like a weird potato thing.
So my understanding is in the Japanese version, he's always drunk. In this one, he's always drinking milk.
Watered
so
down.
One of the sanitized things.
I thought it was funny when they zoomed in on the girl's face forever. And I was like, how long is this scene? So I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were a lot of funny moments, I guess, that weren't like purposely funny. Like when they see the dead body of an alien that looks like a human, but with extremely long lashes. Her eyelashes were crazy like a butterfly. But the funny thing was, the first thing they think, she's beautiful. like, dude, keep it in your pants, buddy. Like, you could still be alive. Like, try to save her. And then he's like, is she? And he's like, yeah, basically saying she's dead. I'm like, how do you know? Well, she might just be napping.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. And then that little device, with the red pointings, I immediately thought of like a sex toy.
Oh,
why did they make it look like that? But I just thought that was funny personally.
Yeah, Muhammad, you're the expert on the show. Why'd they make it look like that?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Funny that the captain was Avatar, because we have Avatar now. There's just like a lot of different terms that I've noticed like in our culture now.
Totally. Yeah. Everybody in the live chat, let us know why you think that device was like looking like a sex toy. Let us know.
There's lots of influences on. I mean, I'm assuming lots of influences on later shows.
Not to bring this up, but here we are.
It's an adult cartoon.
Well, one thing in season 2, though, and Ryan, you'll probably recognize this plot. In season 2, there's a a different big threat to Earth and stuff like that. So these people, the Star Force or whatever they call themselves, has to go off, but they pair up with these Space Marines, and they all get together, and they're constantly fighting each other on the ship about like the right way to do things. And in the end, the head of the Space Marines has to stay behind and sacrifices himself to save everybody else. This sounds
I'd
just
like
season 3
I'd like
of
to solve the
Enterprise.
puzzle. Yeah. Exactly. The Xindi in Enterprise season 3.
Exactly.
And I bet a lot of Star Trek nerds in the live chat were like, Enterprise, I know this one, Enterprise.
Yeah.
And they're right. That's how I type.
Yeah. But this aired in 1979. Season 2 of this is when that whole plot bore out. So I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know that that's a direct one, but I anticipate a lot of things then penetrated other sci-fi in the long run.
Who's the Blue Ranger behind you? Did we get introduced to that guy yet?
We didn't see him. That's Sandor. We didn't see him yet. He comes in the next one.
Sandor.
He's like their science guy.
And you're wearing his shirt.
Yep. He's cool. He's a science guy.
Oh, so then what? So the different colors mean different things, like on Star Trek?
I'm not positive. I mean, there's definitely some correlations, but I'm not positive that's supposed to be that way.
Okay.
Very cool.
Okay.
Lila, I'd like to ask you a question, and it's other than the weird potato alien guy. What was your favorite moment on the show?
My favorite moment. And I have to say that girl's skirt. No, I'm kidding. Now, what was my favorite moment?
It's okay. It's okay.
Right? I said find the best.
Short skirt.
I'm trying to think. To be honest, I don't know if I necessarily had a moment that I was like, oh, this is, to be honest, like it just was a lot of setup to me. It just seemed like a lot of setup. So
It's true.
So I don't know if there was one, to be honest. Like, I mean, I feel bad saying that. It's not like I didn't dislike it, but it was like in general, I don't think there was anything where I was like, oh yes, this part I'm like more into than the other parts of it. So
your words make Starsha of Planet Iskandar weep. Jennifer, did you have some favorite moments?
I did have a favorite moment when the brother Derek Wildstar was yelling at the captain.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, this is where it is. Bring me the drama. So I liked that he was like, he has some passion around that, which I'm interested to see where that goes.
I want to know Muhammad's favorite too, but like, did it even change this time, or do you always have like a favorite moment in this episode?
Yeah, it's hard to think of episode by episode for the future. I mean, just from this watch, I think I'd say, I think you said this earlier too, Ryan, the Alex Wildstar's sacrifice. I thought that was great. I think, wow, okay, yeah, that was kind of moving, even if the exact execution was a little bit funny.
Is that Lila that said that?
Oh, was it Lila that said that? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, yeah, Lila.
I totally rolled my eyes at that point. I was like, ugh, typical cowboy mentality, ass motherfucker.
Hey, Team Egyptian agrees.
Yeah. I don't know if I had any favorite moments. I mean, the music, the song, and they were nice enough to play the song at the end too.
It's different words.
At the end, I thought they were going to give us a like a this season on Star Blazers, and then give us all these highlights, but then they just played the song again, but I guess with different lyrics. I wondered if those were the same and I just missed them. Maybe my favorite part was just right when it first started, because that song made me think of, and it's a very similar year. It was if you guys, anybody has seen the animated Lord of the Rings movie, it was like I think they only did like the first. No, they split into two movies, the trilogy, but it was in the 70s too. It's from the 70s, and all of their songs that they translated from the books, they sing them in that style, that da 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 da, that kind of thing. And so it reminded me of that, and I was like, oh, this is fun. It's like that old 70s Lord of the Rings cartoon. So that may have been it. I think for me, my favorite was like at the beginning when I was like, oh boy, I am just going to love the shit out of this thing. And then I didn't really.
There's a non-animated version, like a movie version that came out like 15 years ago, but it's dubbed in Japanese or from Japanese. So.
Is it good? It doesn't
okay.
sound good.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, adapting a
it's definitely more
cartoon.
intense. Which I mean, this one's kind of intense for a kid's show, and that one's more intense. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and this was Earth Defense Fleet, I think is what it was. Okay. Well, let's move on into some very interesting subject matter. Lila Shacker, you are an actress in Los Angeles, beautiful Los Angeles that can't handle rain when it rains. What's new in your world? You've got some improv and such going on, right?
Now that kind of theaters and stuff have finally opened back up, I'm back doing live performing improv. And a lot of sketch writing, actually. I study at the Groundling, so I just had a sketch show there and just kind of plugging away on my sketch writing and stuff like that. Maybe I'll write more sketches. I could stick on Falling Tower as well. So yeah, just focusing on that. And then end of last year, I did a short, like a little comedy short that's getting accepted into some film festivals right now. So yeah, it's been fun. Yeah.
Oh,
Can you tell us about any of your sketches?
Huh?
Can you tell us about any of the sketches you're writing?
Well, let's see. The one in the show that I just did, they're all very character based. I did one based off of, her name is Josie, and she is purely an Edward Cullen fan, like not Robert Pattinson, just Edward Cullen. And it's her at a convention for the new Batman movie.
Oh,
but
wow.
She's not interested in Batman. She's interested in Edward Cullen. So that was one of the sketches that I wrote and performed recently. So yeah.
That sounds really cool.
I got a quick question to toss your way. What out of all the roles that you've ever done, which was the one where as soon as you were done, you were like, ooh, I just nailed that and it felt so good? Was it like being like a villain and you're just like, I just scared the shit? They thought I was really evil or something. Or was it that you brought down the house with the line, saying something funny? Was there something that just felt so good?
Yeah, there was actually in this one of the last sketches that I did, I was in like a prison and basically teaching self-help to inmates at a prison, and it was all about meditation. And then it was like they wanted to shank each other, and I was like, no, instead we need to dance, and we danced to Ice Ice Baby. And that was one of the ones where I was like, okay, this is a character that I have a lot of fun doing, and the response I got was very positive and very
awesome.
Fun.
That's epic. I love that story.
And where can people find you online or your projects? Should they go to check you out?
Yeah, so a lot of my stuff, you can find it on Instagram, Lila D. Shacker. And I've got links to I think I've got a link right now to a sketch I have on Falling Tower right now. And then some of my other stuff is on there as well. Yeah.
That's right. Good stuff.
Just followed you.
God, this guy's too quick. This guy, evolutionary biologists should know that things progress very slowly.
Not always. Sometimes evolution's fast.
You're right.
As we see with our current pandemic.
Jennifer, you are also an actress. You are out in Atlanta, Georgia. Must be amazing over there. You got a brand new project that you were just cast in. Can you tell us a little bit about it? I know you can't tell us a lot.
So, okay. It's been 4 years since I booked. So obviously it's been a process of moving to Atlanta and, getting my feet on the ground. And I have a funny story about this. My agency actually dropped me. So I was like in the depths of depression and like desperate for an agent, right?
You said this was a funny story. That's so far.
Funny story. Trust me. They call me and they're like, I know we're not working together anymore, but you booked this role. And I was like, what a great way to be like, see, I am good. Listen, I booked this role. Anyway, so I booked this movie. It's a TV movie on Tubi called Twisted House Sitter 2, which I thought was even more funny because it's a sequel. I'm like, who gets cast in a sequel? But okay. And then I went. I was, researching and doing my acting work and everything, and I had my scene with Vivica Fox from Kill Bill, and I was like, like, really trying to like just do the work, and it was really really fun. I can't really tell you what the character was, but she is a chatterbox, which is what I'm naturally good at anyway. So it went really well, and I really can't wait for it to come out.
Wow.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Did the agency sign you again? Did they pick you back up? No?
Oh, is that awkward?
So they're like, we got to wait for you to book 3 things for us to get back with you.
Yeah, I mean, I asked them to resign, but it was a whole story. But I'm looking for a new agent now, and but I have some really good prospects. I have 3 that I'm actually in correspondence with, and
perfect.
We'll see how it works out.
You're gonna get a new agent, then they're gonna reach out to you. Then you're gonna be like, "Sucks! I'm better than you all now."
Yeah, I got 3
you
of them.
You could have ridden my coattails,
now.
but now my coattails are too far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, no hard feelings. They were really nice. It was just one of their people, didn't like my personality, and not everybody's gonna love you. It's gonna be like 80% love you, and 20% are like, I hate you. Get out of my face. So
I gotta improve my numbers if that's the case.
What'd you say?
I said I gotta improve my numbers if that's the case. It's supposed to be 80%.
Hopeful numbers. This is called positivity.
Well, Jennifer, where can people find you and or your projects online?
Well, my Instagram is Citizen Keane. It's like Citizen Kane, but
followed.
Keane, Citizen Keane. And then, I'm a writer as well, so I have some shorts, but I have them private on Vimeo. Like if someone privately messages me, I can send them the code. I just don't really want it out there like that right now. But other than that, I am on HBO Max in the TV series The Deuce on season 3, episode 3. So if you want to check that out, that'll help me. And I'm actually in improv as well. What was that?
I said congrats on that too.
Thank you. That was like actually 2019, and then the pandemic happened, and we were all depressed and going through all of our different crises, and but I'm actually starting improv as well at a place here in Atlanta called Dad's Garage. So if anybody wants to kind of if you're in Atlanta and want to come to Dad's Garage, I'll probably be there soon performing. So all good things.
Nice. You also make great root beer, I hear. All right. So Muhammad knows what time it is. He's got his karate chop ready. It's time for the bottom line, aka the terrible twos.
Just bottom line.
It's the final 2 questions of the show, and the 2 most important questions. So the pressure's on. It's where we get serious. No more joking around. Dr. Muhammad Noor, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give, for real now, this first episode of Star Blazers?
Well, I'm totally biased, by virtue of the shirt and the book, and I've watched it many times and loving it as a kid. So I'm just going to embrace it, and I think I'm still going to give this an 8. Which I know I did that last week for another nostalgic show too. But I mean, I felt like it was a start to the setup. It's not the full setup; it's a start to the setup for something. I mean, again, the pacing was fairly constant. There were a few moments where I got a little bored, but by and large, I still enjoyed it, even though seeing it for, like you said, the 14th or 15th time.
What about you, Lila?
No hard feelings if any of you go whatever. You can say 1 or whatever. So don't feel pressure.
Like you're not going to break my poor heart.
I'm very secure in my love of the show.
Lila, are you secure in your love of the show?
I don't know if I would say like. I would say like maybe. We're not quite at love yet. I would give it. I think for what it is. I think for what the show is. 5. I'd say I'd give it a 5. Yeah. It's not. I don't. It's not my favorite. It was not my favorite, but I feel like, as far for someone like Muhammad, like what the show is about, what it delivers, the time that it came out, I think, yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5.
All right. Jennifer, the pressure's on you now. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think?
You guys are going to be like, what? I give it a 10 out of 10. Because
wow.
the song. and like, I am so nostalgic for like the way cartoons were originally drawn. Like, I really do not like this new Pixar, like digital, what do you even call it? Like, what's the style called when they're digitally making it?
No.
You know?
Yeah. Computer generated or computer animations.
Yeah, I just like the original cartoon and the way it was drawn, and it took so much time and effort, and I appreciate that. And I also know how difficult it is to catch someone on a first episode, and I feel like they did the best that they could, you know. And I'm in. I'm probably gonna rewatch this, you know, and move forward.
Keep going with it. Yay! I'll watch it with you.
Well, that's question number 2. But I will say there are a lot of people right now. You just made a lot of nerds very happy in the live chat. They're like, me too. I give it a 10 too. Awesome. My back is killing me. So on a scale of 1, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll tell you what I would give it. It wasn't that bad. It's a 5.5 for me. I was going to give it a 4.5, but then I was like, it's the serialized thing. They should get extra points for having serialized storytelling, because that's really hard to do, especially with cartoons. And I really liked it when cartoons did that as a kid. I really like it now. I think that it's a bold way to go about things. So I'm like, okay, they should have a 5.5 and possibly much higher. But for me, it was just messy, you know, but not terrible. However, that's question number 1. The real question, the one that makes all the money, is question number 2, which is, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Star Blazers, but now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Dr. Mohamed Noor, would you of your own volition watch the second episode?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Go for number 15. Or 14 for the second one, I guess.
All right. That was an easy answer. And we're all surprised by it. What about you, Lila? Would you watch the second episode of your own volition?
No, probably not. I just feel like there's so many shows out right now that I don't know if I would necessarily spend my time watching the next one of this one specifically. But I would be curious to watch the original Japanese version with like subtitles and see kind of, because I was reading the same thing that was Mohamed was saying, that like, so that they did clean it up a lot as far as like the content. So I would be curious to watch the original version just to kind of see what they did with that.
Ooh, Jennifer, boy, this is a tough one too. Would you, theoretically, not necessarily that you will, but would you of your own volition watch the second episode?
You already know. It's a yes. Because, you know, it's also, I now have an association with watching this and then doing a podcast with you guys. So now it's like eating chocolate chip cookies or like indulging in something that takes me out of this reality. Because, you know, we work so hard on our jobs and everything that we're doing. When you watch something like this, it brings you back to being a kid and, you know, puts you in a different world, kind of like a video game or whatever. So I really liked it, and I like the pacing of it. So, and it's also just like 20 minutes, and that's like a good amount of time to watch something before you go to bed, you know? So, yes.
You can have it up as you're brushing your teeth. Just have it going.
That's what I always say. I need a toothbrushing show. You need something you just put on while you're brushing your teeth. You're, you know, kicking off you just kind of, it's kind of on, but it's kind of just like, you know, whatever.
Right. Mental health.
All right. So this is another one I'm flip-flopping on. I was originally just barely teetering into the no sector. But again, the serialization of it, teased enough to where I'm not proud of it, but I'm curious to know what's next. The way they set it up, that is the correct time to end the episode, is right when they say, okay, but there's this ship. What's the mystery? Well, you'll just have to tune in next time, that kind of thing. And so we're like, all right, fine, I will. And so, yes, it's a yes from me. And and Lila's like, I don't even know who you guys are anymore.
We still love you, Lila. It's okay.
Don't ban it.
But it was very close.
Cool.
I'm keeping an eagle eye on Star Blazers. I'm like, you better be good the second episode.
It was the short skirt for me, so.
Mm-hmm. That's who I'm going to cosplay next.
But it's super tight.
I have some more short skirts going on.
All right. Well, that's about it, everybody. Please remember to give this video a like. Make sure you are subscribed. But you already have over 1 million subscribers. Well, every single one counts, and we need that extra one for sure. And give us a 5-star rating if you're just listening in. And, check out Star Blazers and check out all of our previous 151 episodes. And what I'm trying to say is this podcast was one of the best ever.
Oh, well, that's a hard one to follow. This podcast was, I feel like I'm going to say the same thing I said last week. This podcast was a constructive look at an old show, but, kind nonetheless.
Okay. This podcast was full of promises kept and twists and turns.
This podcast was a blend of friendship and critique.
Ooh.
I like it.
Like Thanksgiving.
Good.
All right.
Thanksgiving.
I don't know. Sometimes I can't be held responsible for the dumb stuff I say. Anyway, let's get out of here, everybody. Very special thanks to Lila Shacker and Jennifer Keene. This was a lot of great fun. And always remember, if you want to make a suggestion in the comments below, type WTF and the show you'd like us to review. Parenthetically, tell us where we can find it. That's the important part. Where can we find it so that we're not typing like this, trying to find it?
Do we know a theme yet for March, or we don't know one yet?
Mm-mm.
Not yet.
Maybe it's like Deuces Are Wild. Maybe we just everybody could just suggest a theme for March. Let me check the notes. Do we have a theme for March yet? No. March and April are blank. May is fantasy month, so stay tuned for that. Always remember what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say.
Don't forget to be an organ donor, and don't forget to watch The First of Things.
All right, now freeze frame like you're an actor trying to audition for this role.
Which role?
Any of them. I want to be the potato guy.